Hey guys, it's Cash, and since the audio on this video didn't record for some reason, I figured I'd add some commentary on how I heal it instead. I want to create content to help people push their keys higher and enjoy doing Mythic Plus more, and I want to highlight some more important points without getting bogged down in too much detail. So if there's anything you want to know, feel free to drop a comment below. I always make that rhyme. Okay, so for this key, I talented into Miracle Worker, which is something that I think will only work for Holy during the pre-patch, and then we'll probably never see it again. I made a whole 5-minute video on it if you want to watch it in more detail, and I'll also link it in the description. I've also been switching between Night Fae and Kyrian, but for this key I went Night Fae, partially for the soul shape just so I can run around a bit faster because Streets is a pretty big dungeon, but also for the damage reduction because I'm playing with a Guardian Druid. Okay, hi, today I'm going to talk through a 25 Streets of Wonder. I'm going to mostly let the video play on its own, but I will just throw out a couple of tips for healing or tanking as they come up. So like I said, it's a 25 Streets, it's Sanguine and Grievous on Fortified Week, so it's a lot of fun. I'm playing with Tuna, who's tanking on his Guardian Druid, and our friend CJ, who's playing on his Warlock. The other two DPS are Pugs. This pack as a healer is pretty chill, you just dodge the swirlies on the floor, but the big thing you want to look out for is Radiant Pulse. It just went off there, you can see that it does group-wide damage. It also leaves behind a dot, so you need to be prepared to heal up the group-wide damage, but also the dot that it leaves behind. Here it's going off again, and I did use Divine Hymn, but I probably should have used that a little bit earlier. I don't know if you noticed, but the timer was off, which threw me a bit. Normally I would use Divine Hymn a little earlier because that puts the added healing bonus buff on everyone, and it just makes it easier to heal them. This pack was actually quite annoying because that guy lived way longer, and I didn't think a third one was going to go off, but it did, so, you know, we work. This pack here, you get a little bit of everything, and there is so much to kick, but the priorities are definitely Stasis Beam and the Hard Light Barrier. As a Holy Priest, I don't really have a kick, so I'm definitely relying on the DPS and the tank to do this. And as a Priest, I also get Master Spells, so if any of these things do go off, you'll see on the left-hand side over here, besides the Grievous, we've got that magic debuff as well, so I can use Master Spell, as I just did. Otherwise, I will be using Dispel, which is this one over here, as often as I can, just to make it as easy as possible. You'll see that I've got add-ons here that show me who has been casted on, so like the Sparkburn over here is on Joe, and now it's on CJ. I find this really helpful for taking note of incoming damage, but in reality they don't hit that hard. Okay, so hang on. Okay, so they hit a little hard. We can go back here. This actually really pissed me off because I was standing right on the edge and I'm casting Symbol of Hope, and I thought I was safe, but I am clearly not. And I go off in Discord for sure. But it's okay, it's a very short run back, everyone's out of danger, it's totally fine. So for this key, I went back to Night Fae. I was playing Kyrian before when we were doing some 20s. The damage is way better with Kyrian, I love it. But Night Fae just has that nice damage reduction, which is very helpful for a fortified week in a high key. You'll see there, I did not want to make that mistake again. I moved out that swirly pretty quickly. Now the thing to note here as a healer and as a tank is the Overseer. The Overseers hit very hard. They have a move called Proxy Strike. It's going off right now. Look at Tuna's health. It guts him. It pretty much is just like an extra weapon that does a big chunk of arcane damage. So yeah, they hit pretty hard, especially on Fortified Week. We're trying to get it down pretty quickly. As a side note, just in case anyone doesn't know, you can jump over these stasis beams. I don't think I do it in this key, because I don't want to fuck it up, but you can jump over these lines here if you time it properly. So this pull here, let me just go back a second, because a bad thing happens, which we live through it here, it's totally fine here, but it has a knock-on effect later. So Tuna's gone over there, he's doing this pack, and then the next move is to pull these 4 together, because Zo'gmux and an Overseer are at the entrance, and we want to do them together, but separate from these 4. But you'll see here, the DK's Breath of Sindragosa pulls those 2 on the side. This is fine for now, we're okay. But you'll see in a minute that it has consequences. Someone's not kicking that stasis beam, I nearly die. You'll see Miracle Worker is doing a great job here. I don't know if you guys saw, but when that DK died, I had just cast Serenity on him and he still died. Here I have 1 charge of Serenity. And I spend it, but he still dies. I'm using the plumage trinket and I pop it on Tuna here and it really helps. Like he's still got it there. So I put it on him because I didn't have Guardian Spirit available, so the plumage will actually act as like a cheat death. But in this case, all it did was heal him. It didn't actually need it, which was great. You might notice as well that as the ranged, especially CJ and I, but the mage as well, but CJ and I play a lot together, so us 3 try to stay near each other. That's just for good positioning, that is for the AoE healing. I will sometimes run forward towards a pack to use Divine Star, but in general the 3 of us, especially like I said, CJ and I, try to stay together. Okay, so this is where it goes sideways. We're talking on Discord about what to do here because it feels bad to only have a pack of 2 mobs, but we're talking about whether we could get away with pulling just the just Zo'gmux. And so we do, but then we also accidentally pull the Overseer, and then that's when we're in trouble. So I straight away will put Guardian Spirit on Tuna. And just look at his health. It's hard. I've used Apotheosis, I've used all my charges of Serenity, I'm just casting. I tried to kite here, but I get soul shape into a box and get stuck. It happens. So the mage actually ends up kiting him over to Tuna. He's up, and we're just gonna catch up now. So somewhere along the line we lost Zo'gmux and the Overseer, and we decided to just pull them. This was the original final pull we wanted to do in this area before the boss. Zo'gmux is already at 50%, which is great because he takes a very long time to kill. Sometimes in higher keys you wouldn't even kill him, but we're gonna do a skip later, and we just need the percentage up here. I try to leave the debuff at 3 stacks before I dispel it. That seems to be what my tank can handle, and it's probably good to take note to see what each tank can handle. Yeah, you can see this Overseer just ripping into Tuna, plus the dot, plus Zo'gmux. It's a little struggle. I still don't have Apotheosis off cooldown, but we're doing it. We're fine. Here I should have been a little worried about the blood barrier. I really thought we might get him down before it went off. My mistake. That's alright. So here you'll see CJ and I run off to line of sight the minibus so we don't get hit by the AoE damage. I don't know why I'm looking for mana buns. By the time I find them, I don't actually need them. And then I'm low-key panicking because the DK is very dying. So there's a trick here which Tuna's trying to do, but I think as a bear he might be too big. He's just having a little trouble here, but if you jump up on the box and you have this guy positioned in front of you, these beams actually just go in one straight line across here, which makes it really easy, but you know, he's having a hard time. As a priest, you want to be master spelling the slow. It just makes it much easier for your group. So this guy also does the Radiant Pulse, which we saw in that first 3-pack right at the beginning of the streets. So again, just the same sort of methodology here. You just want to be prepared for it, use the damage reduction. If you have one, just make sure everyone's topped up before it goes out, and then be prepared to heal through the dot that's ticking on everyone. As a Holy Priest, it's pretty manageable because you just got your heal and your flash heal and you can get through it all very quickly, and it's just whack-a-mole, really, you know? You're just hitting those lowest health bars. This boss is pretty easy from memory. I don't even think I get my weapon taken off me, maybe once. We do lust the boss here just to get through it. We were talking about at the beginning of the key whether we would lust the big group or not, but honestly this boss is just painful. I just want to get it down as quickly as possible. When I'm not healing, you'll see that I'm going to be throwing some damage in, so I'm using Imperial Blaze for those holy fires. I'm smiting and using mind games on cooldown and keeping my dots up as well. This boss is pretty chill to heal. It's mostly on the tank to make sure that he's moving out of these swinging weapons and that there's going to be enough space. But yeah, no, it's pretty fine. Oh my bad, I do get my weapon stolen. Just as a side note, if you're a human, you can racial out of the interrogation. You'll see CJ do it here in a minute. And that just helps. It just helps a healer, it just helps the group skip that phase. I'm not sure if you can shadow meld it. I play a healer and a tank, so it's a DPS mechanic, so I haven't been able to test the shadow meld. What we're going to do here is use Mind Soothe to skip the mob on the bridge, and then you just need to run through as quickly as possible. So this strat works as long as you are fast. So I'm going to Mind Soothe it here, and then you just need to run quickly over the bridge before these core hounds become active. Tuna's going to grab the infiltrator from inside. That dinosaur on the side will always activate. Now this mob can be a little bit painful. We did talk about lusting this mob, but we wanted lust up in time for the post room, so we didn't do it. And you can see here it is a little bit of a struggle. It's very whack-a-mole with everybody. There's a lot of bleeds, there's a lot of charges, a lot of stuns, and then you have to look out for the Infiltrator spew, the Infiltrator frontal as well. Super annoying though if the Dire Horn gets stuck in Sanguine. And so it takes a while to die, and this Dire Horn just follows us all the way through to the next hack, and it's super annoying. We all get hit by the charge a bunch. So if you didn't see it, there is an Infiltrator just down those stairs. Tuna picked it up and brought it up to the group, and now we're just walking. We're just taking this Infiltrator and this Dire Horn around the corner, and Tuna's gonna go and pick up a mob further ahead. See, we're just all getting hit by that stun, just us ranged being dumb. It's okay to be dumb. So Tuna's up ahead, picking up the next pack of mobs. So you saw here I got Holy Locked. If you go within a 10-yard range, the Peacekeeper doesn't do that mechanic, but I was waiting to come into the room, so he ran straight at me. I'm gonna try and stay more in range of him now. And because it's fortified, we're actually gonna take these onto the boss. It gets a bit sketchy here with the frontals. And we're just trying to bait the sleeps over to the side so we can move into the middle of the room. Phase 1 of this boss is pretty easy. You just run away from the Grand Consumption and you dodge these swirlies. They do sometimes overlap, so you need to be paying attention to what order they appear in. But other than that, it's pretty straightforward. This boss here is a little bit trickier. These Purification Protocol gigantic circles, as a priest you can master spell them. So you're going to see me run in here to be in line with the DK, and I'm going to master spell both of us. From then on, until it comes off cooldown, you really just need to decide who the best person is. I usually try to get melee. The other thing is that there's a big shield that goes on the boss. This big shield here is actually on the boss, and a mage can spell steal it, but if you spec into your purge, you can also purge it. I'm not spec'd into purge at the moment, but that's okay because the mage can totally spell steal it, use it for himself. Other than those two things, this phase is pretty easy. Here I take it off the melee, so he doesn't need to run away, and you'll see the mage used his ice block. So phase 3 is definitely the hardest, and here we have a super annoying overlap where we have both of them active at the same time. So we've got everything happening at once, but because it's not Tyrannical Week, it's actually pretty easy to deal with. You pretty much want to stand at range to skip this Whirring Annihilation. It sucks you in pretty hard, so you need to be standing back. On higher keys, these orbs actually hurt quite a bit as well, so you definitely need to be running around to collect them, and then also dodging them as best as you can. Now once we get out of here, we do the mini boss up here. You can stand behind here to avoid getting sucked in. Tuna's standing tight in the corner, so I have a real hard time healing him. I'm just gonna skip this. This is actually super annoying. There's not much to talk about. All right, so we're gonna leave this area and Tuna's gonna pick up the Peacekeeper. Like I said, they are pretty annoying, but we decided to skip so much at the beginning that we need to pick it up. And just because it is annoying, we're gonna solo it here. So you can skip the Quelling Strike, which is where he runs at you and interrupts you. See, you did it there on CJ. You can skip it by standing closer to him. 10-yard range is fine. That Phalanx field is super annoying. It's like a spell reflect, and it reduces the magic damage they take by 75%, so the Peacekeepers are super annoying to pull, especially for our comp at the moment. Alright, so for this next one, we're going to pull the whole room, which is pretty scary on Sanguine, and pretty scary with Grievous, but we decided up front that we were going to lust this, just to get through it as quickly as possible. It makes up quite a bit of percentage, you're going to see it here. And it works out pretty fine. From memory, the male mentals get stuck in the Sanguine and they take quite a long time to kill. You can see here, Tuna's popped his cooldowns. I barely even need to heal him, so I'm just throwing some DPS out. And yeah, you can see those male mentals get stuck in the Sanguine and they just heal to full. So on Fortified, these junk males really hurt. I don't know if you can see, they're hitting me for about 20k, 25k. I should have used Fade here. Any damage reduction is going to help, but really you just need to keep people up. You can't interrupt these. They're just going to go out, which is why it's so frustrating that they didn't go down and they healed to full with the Sanguine. I'm pretty sure I die. Yep. So those bubbles, I'm sure everybody knows, but those bubbles give you a haste buff when you stand inside of them, and one of the reasons we decided to pull the whole room is because of Sanguine, we don't really get a chance to use it. You can stand right on the edge, but it's pretty annoying, and we just decided to pull them out and try to melt them with Lust. Just didn't work out that way for us. We're going to take this Infiltrator and pull it onto the boss. Now, this boss used to be one of the scary bosses for me. I really struggled to heal it. Look at everybody dodge that sleep and that frontal. Well done. So for this boss, there's quite a lot that goes out. You can see here that fan mail is about to go out, which is a big AoE damage to the whole group. On top of that, it coincides with these pools that drop on the floor, which you're supposed to stand in, and it gives everyone this debuff, which also does magic damage. So you've got a lot of stuff going on at once, and then money order comes out and unstable goods like pretty soon. So that's why it was so scary to heal through. It's just got so much big damage in such a quick succession with not a lot of breathing time in between, but you can see how I do it here. So as a Holy Priest, I can master spell, and then I'm going to come into range so I can sanctify on myself, but also the melee, and then I'm just playing whack-a-mole. Once money order comes out, I use a damage reduction, so I use fade, and I think everyone used their damage reduction there, so I probably would have used my second charge of sanctify if I needed to, but I didn't need to. Now right here, fan mail is about to come out, and so I have already literally just started my divine hymn. You start it early because the Gales of Wind, or the Gales of Song, I never remember which one it is, but that puts a buff on people, which increases your healing done by quite a bit, and it makes it very easy to top everyone up. Look how easy that was. And then it's just rinse and repeat. You got your hazardous liquids, you got your fan mail, and then your money order comes out. So I've got a charge of Sanctify ready to go, and I've got my damage reduction, there goes my master spell, there goes my Sanctify, and I've popped my damage reduction. It's still difficult. This is not Tyrannical week, and we got very unlucky with the money orders. It goes on people that can't really mitigate them, so we all have to soak them. This is much harder on Tyrannical, but I feel like on under 25, it should give you a good indication of how to do it on something lower and still live through all the mechanics. You'll notice that I keep my flash concentration stacks up. So I'm not really bothering to heal through this, and then I accidentally fat finger Apotheosis. So, you know, I made that decision not to do anything, and I ended up using a huge cooldown anyway, but that's fine. It's okay to be dumb. I'm actually just gonna skip through this as well. It's pretty boring, there's not much to do. Oh yeah, and we accidentally grabbed those mobs right at the end as well. That was... So this boss is pretty straightforward. I actually don't enjoy it at all. I also struggle on this one because I realize that since the pre-patch update, I don't have an action button, and I'm trying to quickly make a macro for it, but I'm getting really annoyed. I'm really tired. It's late at night. It's like our 4th key, so I just don't bother. I just go without the haste bus. Look at me. I'm like, where is it? How do I do it? What's happening? I didn't even see Joe in the sleep puddle. Yeah, so we brought the Infiltrator in. Again, it's Fortified week, not Tyrannical. You can still do it on Tyrannical, though. Bring it in. You may as well DPS it down while you're doing the musical number. And this part's pretty easy, you know, dodge the green swirlies. Trying to interrupt that teleport if you can, and menacing shout, which you'll see here on the countdown, is like the thing that you want to kick. It can one-shot you. So yeah, just me struggling to go through all my macros. If you want, I can make a video on all my macros. I have some discipline ones in there as well from when I used to play Disc. So wave 2 is basically the same. You're gonna dodge the green swirlies, try to interrupt the teleport, interrupt menacing shout. I don't find this particularly difficult. If there's something that you're struggling with on this boss, please tell me, because I've just always had such an easy time with it. That's not a brag, that's just I just don't like this boss. I think it's just kind of boring. I'm pretty much just trying to DPS as much as possible using Holy Nova, using Imperial Blaze. So I had some audio trouble. My WoW sound and my Discord, for some reason, both didn't record when I recorded this key. So there's just me over here in the corner. My mic is turned on. You can hear me speaking, but you can't hear the other side of the conversation. So my apologies. Next time I will try to leave the WoW sound and the Discord sound on there if you're interested. But for this key, it just didn't pan out. Okay. So for this one, it's the Menacing Shout, the Crowd Control, and the Suppression Spark. You want to kick the Menacing Shout. You want to dodge the Rotten Food, which is the green swirlies on the floor. And the Suppression Spar, you can skip. You just jump on the drums and skip it. If you don't get the drums for some reason, and you have an instrument, you use these to get out of the way. So you just let yourself get sucked into the middle, and then in the last second you use these to get out of the way. You can also use a movement ability if you prefer, but that's how you're supposed to do this. Now the crowd control, you can see it happening here on the screen. It took me a weird amount of time to figure out what it was. For some reason I had a very hard time seeing the graphic for it, but it's this sort of like blurry shield in front of him, so he'll just face a random person, and if you are standing in front of him you basically get one shot. So just move. That's it. Rinse and repeat. Kick the Menacing Shout, dodge the green, and watch the crowd control. So crowd control is coming up in about 5 seconds. He's facing me, so I'm gonna do a little run, and then he's dead. Okay, so from here we go straight to the last boss. We haven't quite got percent, but we decided to just do the last boss and then run down and kill whatever we need left. We'll just skip over to the boss. So this boss is also very easy to heal. I think the tricky thing is more just the general mechanics. It's keeping an eye on Shuri and all these little moving things to make sure that you get into the one with the correct symbol above. But in terms of healing it, very easy. Very, very easy. Nothing happens for a while. I just go straight into DPSing. I think I actually struggle to keep my flash concentration stacks up. That's how very little there is to do on this boss. You want to dodge these little pillars. So when Shuri goes out, just turn around and look. So it's circle and triangle, and you just make your way over to the nearest one. So with the double technique, you interrupt the first one and then you let the second one go as long as possible. So the mage already interrupted this one, and you'll see Tuda gets it right at the end there. That's just to stop him doing the next mechanic, which is Shuri. So Shuri has popped out right in front of us, triangle and circle. So we're just gonna dip into the triangle. What happened? I forgot about that. I guess it moved at the last minute. Anyway, I made it safe. And now we just need that last like 6%. So we're gonna pop down here. I'm gonna pull this group on the right, which has an infiltrator. Unfortunately, it's got a peacekeeper in it. It's got 2 peacekeepers in it. I use my trinket. I regret using Guardian Spirit on the mage. I'm just trying to get that last peacekeeper down, and he runs in the sanguine, and but it's okay. So that's 25 Streets of Wonder. I hope you enjoyed watching the key. Next time I'll have the Discord and the WoW sounds on as well. I just had some audio issues. I didn't want to go into too much detail with what I was doing just because it is so late in the season, but just a few tips that might help you get through it, or if you just like watching people do keys, there you go. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.